Hello, ladies and gentlemen, as I got here, bringing to you another video for Conqueror's Blade, published by Porus Interactive. This is going to be the May 29th update log. I did skip the last week's update logs. It was just very minor things that I thought, and I probably just couldn't be bothered doing it. That being said, we have APAC has the May 29th to, the maintenance for APAC is going to be May 29th, 1400 to 1700 UTC plus 8. EU and AMS is going to get May 29th to 0700 to 1000 UTC plus 1. The maintenance is expected to last 3 hours. After the maintenance, we will distribute 8,000 bronze coins, 300 honor, and 15 unit medals. For the first change, we have Festival Series event. So they have an event called the Dragon Boat Festival Login Rewards. Celebrating the Dragon Boat Festival brings wishes of peace and happiness. As festival approach, we've prepared substantial log-in rewards for all warlords. Warlords who have logged in during the current season will receive exclusive Dragon Boat rewards via mail on May 31st, including treatises times 3, Boat Festival gift times 10. Dragon Boat gift item introduction. Upon opening the Boat Festival gift, you will randomly see one of the following items: bean paste dumplings used to get 100 honor, 50 skill points, and 10,000 hero XP. Fresh meat dumpling used to get extra rewards for 3 battles, increasing hero EXP and unit EXP gained by 100%. Date dumpling used to get 30,000 shared unit EXP. Alright, we have the Dragon Hunter's Mantra returns with enhanced rewards. During the event, Dragon Hunter's Mantra. Okay. So during the event, warlords can obtain mechanical rods through Siege Battlefield, Free Battles, and Coliseum with a daily cap of 100 mechanical rods. Using mechanical rods, you can draw rewards on the event interface. The Dragon Hunter's Mantra reward pool consists of 3 phases: Dragon Awakening, Shadowed Relics, and Endless Hunt. Opening Dragon's Awakening 300 times, guaranteed all rewards, including Pure Wisdoms. 300 times? So you need to get 1,500 rods? If I'm doing my math right. No, 300 times only need 1 opening per rod. Yeah, okay. 300 times. That means, well, depending how many you can gain. If it's 1 per battle, that's 300 battles. That's just impossible to complete, so you probably get a couple. Um, After acquiring Pure Wisdom in Dragon Awakening, the Shadowed Relic pool unlocks. Opening Shadowed Relic 500 times, guaranteed all rewards, including an Epic Hero Schematic Crate. After obtaining the Epic Hero Schematic Crate in Shadowed Relic, the Endless Hunt pool, what the heck, unlocks. Endless Hunt offers opportunity to acquire the all-new epic mount Golden Dragon, legendary kill announcer Valor of the Vanguards, and many other rare items. From after maintenance on May 29th, 2025 to 000 hours June 12th, 2025. That gives you 3 weeks? No, just 2 weeks. Never mind. After June 12th, mechanical rods will no longer drop, but the event interface will remain open until maintenance on June 19th. Warlords can continue to use their obtained mechanical rods to earn rewards or purchase mechanical rods using sovereigns. A maximum of 3,000 mechanical rods can be purchased during the event. Okay, interesting. Just a hint of gold, mostly white. Wonder if they have different stats. The first opening is free. Subsequent opening requires the use of the event. Okay, sorry. Merchant Trove Season Sealed Tire Event Pass 2 begins. Okay, the first opening is free. Subsequent opening requires the use of Specific items, sealed vault key with the number required increasing progressively. Available for purchase directly on the event page. After opening the merchant's trove 10 times, you are guaranteed to obtain all rewards, including the seasonal handpick, seasonal attire selection chest 2, and the seasonal handpick emote selection chest. Specific rewards and opening possibilities. Please refer to the O event page in game. From the seasonal handpicks. From the seasonal handpick attire selection chest 2, you can get the selected Bringer of Thunder, Centurion attire, the 100 Victories, Snow Stag Samurai, and the Grandmaster attire. Of course, I do think the Samurai one looks the best because, like, naturally is best color coded. Great that they show off both the male and the female versions. So you have the Imperial Store rewards upgrade, top tier doctrine available for exchange. Interesting. A new exchangeable item, random. Oh, come on. Random epic doctrine chest has been added, requiring 200 triumph for redemption. Using it grants one random tier 4. Not even tier 5. Random tier 4. What is this garbage? Each season allows for the purchase of 2 random epic doctrine chests. Like, if it's not the best, no one's ever gonna waste their time buying it. That's my opinion, though. That's just like that's how I see it. The Storm Claw attire chest, Akuma's Claw attire chest, and the Chaotic Battle attire chest are available. Limited time return of the Jewel Blades, Legendary attire, Thunder Strike, Nodachi Legendary attire, Akuma's Claw, and the Pikes attire, Draconic Fatalis. Um, just a brief. I mean, you guys have probably seen these before. But my opinions is that the Thunderstrike one is way too bright, and like every time the Jewel Blade goes invisible or uses a like escape and infiltrate, it'll cause like a beacon kind of thing, which is really bad because it basically tells the enemy or your allies that you've gone invisible. The Akuma's Claw one, the fire effect is just super brutal. Draconic Fatal, probably I think it's the first one, the very first legendary we ever got. It's okay. I do think they could have probably gone a little bit harder with the effects, but I think it's because it was the first one that the effects were just probably quite weak in the beginning. Not not gonna say that like they should, but I think it could be cool to have could be cool to upgrade the visuals for the Draconum Fatalis. Handpick Doctrine Pool Rotation. Okay, so we're rotating for Epic. Uh, so we're rotating for Javelin units is increased. This goes from May 29th to June 12th. And finally, as I expected, and as probably a lot of people expected, unit balance adjustments. Okay, I'm gonna read through this and then have my afterthoughts. But there are some changes. I have read through this before, but anyway, let's go ahead. Polearm Infantry Brace Weapon Adjustment. So, Imperial Pike Guards, Pike Militia, Demez Pikemen, Village Watchmen. Brace attack range remains unchanged, but now initiate attacks early as enemy approaches the attack range. Brace attack speed boost damage cap increased by 300%. Minimum speed affected by speed boost increases from 4 meters per second to 9 meters per second. Madal Battalion increased the number of targets for brace attack in Madal defense changed from 2 to 4, with a speed boost damage cap increase of 200%. Minimum speed affected by speed boost increased from 2 meters per second to 9 meters per second. Under Madal March, the number of targets for stab slash push attacks changed from 231 to 333. Carnage number of targets per attack segment when contacting enemies changed from 2 to 3. For the ratio of pikemen, brace attack speed boost damage cap increased by 300%. Minimum speed affected by speed boost increased from 5 meters per second to 9 meters per second. Demez Pikeman added block formation where units will enter brace state upon forming up. Imperial Pike Guard initial health increase from 6,884 to 7,247. Advanced piercing damage coefficient increased from 62% to 80%. Advanced cooldown reduced from 50 seconds to 35 seconds with a 30% increase to all defense during the skill's duration. Palace Guards adjusted for the power skill attack method. Units will first charge towards the enemy, then use shield bash upon approaching for the power. Slashing coefficient increase from 80% to 100%. Blunt damage coefficient increase from 80% to 100%, and the attacks will no longer be deflected when blocked. Just a quick note: I'm not entirely sure what they mean by this, but it scares me because the shield bash. I'm not sure what they're I think I know what they're referring to, but it could be something else. So the thing I'm worried about is that they changed the attack to be unblockable. Not that it matters. Or they actually just remove the reflecting the deflection debuff where certain units will be deflected when their attacks get blocked, which is really weird because like this is the first time I've ever seen it being mentioned as a thing. Every unit killed for the power shield bash attack reduces Guard for the Throne's cooldown by 0.8 seconds. Imperial Spear Guard's maximum unit size increased from 32 to 40. Mastery Node 5 health recovery increased from 40 per health per second to 1% on maximum health per second. Mastery Node 6 damage reduction from 5-star units increased from 200 to 400. Mastery Node 7 damage reduction from cavalry increased from 200 to 400. Spear Sergeant's initial health increased from 7,260 to 8,508. Piercing damage increased from 978 to 1,181. Maximum unit size increased from 32 to 40. Adjusted cover commander's combat style, leveraging the spear's length for more aggressive attacks to enhance attack efficiency, which now reduces enemies' penetration value by 10% per hit, stacking up to 5 times. Just to note, this actually affects all of their attacks, all of their normal attacks. There is also collateral on Demez Spearmen and Stalwarts, but Stalwarts have a special attack mode which is not affected by this. But this debuff is, of course, unique to the Spear Sergeants. I'm just talking about the leveraging the Spear's length for more aggressive attacks. So expect to see a change on the Nemez Spearmen as collateral. During cover command, a maximum movement speed increased from 5.2 to 7 with added block effects during movement and attack. Smachian and Stalwarts maximum health increased from 7,252 to 8,432. Piercing damage increased from 1,003 to 1,237. Maximum unit size increased from 32 to 40. The damage reduction effect during successful blocking in the brace center really increased from 12% to 30%. The life recovery effect boosted from 7% to 9%. The brace attack range remains unchanged, but the attack will be launched early as enemies are about to enter the attack range. So that's actually new, but I think it's to make Tamashi and Stalwarts the ultimate pike and shield unit. So obviously this makes it easier for them to hit enemies as they enter attack range. But the weird thing here is that the Smachian Stalwarts do not have this speed adjustment, so it's actually kind of weird that they've added this thing, but they didn't also change the speed modifier. So The speed modifier should still be low at the 4 meter mark. So these guys will probably be way stronger than on the PTR. Just logistically, just slightly. Anyway, we have the Imperial Javelineers initial health increase from 6,405 to 7,035. Initial ammo amount increase from 90 to 120. Initial piercing damage increase from 1123 to 1201. Javelin attack piercing damage coefficient increased from 320 to 350. Shield throw attack piercing damage coefficient increased from 135 to 150%. This does not affect their normal shield bash, which is really sad. New unit mastery. Demez Arbalist increased piercing damage by 100 points, increased shooting speed by 12%, increased piercing damage by 100 points, increased shooting speed by 12%. I'm probably just going to like like round those together. They're just basic stat increases. Most important thing is node 5, gain skill, piercing bolts, which allows crossbow bolts to pierce up to 2 additional targets and disrupt cavalry charges. Damage decreases by 30% for each target pierce. Does not coexist with other skills, so they're trying to stop the double shot from triggering during this. But do note that along with the 2 additional targets, piercing bolts does seem to have a attack speed increase. Node 6 increased damage against cavalry by 400. Node 7 increased damage against melee units by 400. Piercing bolts apply 40% slow to cavalry, lasting 3 seconds. Good luck actually hitting moving cavalry, but you can manage it. So we have Rattan Vipers. Node 1 and 3 increases piercing damage by 100 points, so for a 200-point increase. Node 2 and 4 increases piercing armor penetration by 100 points, so that's 200 points. Big significant increase for Rattan Vipers because their stupid ass stats are really low. Node 5 gains skill, Poison Barrage, causing small area enemies to be poisoned and take damage equal to 1% of their current health per second. Node 6 increased damage against infantry by 400 points. Node 7 increased damage against range units by 400 points. Node 8 increases poison barrage poison damage by 300 points per second. Do note that poison barrage is a completely separate poison. It is completely separate from their poisoned weapon, so it doesn't apply any of their debuff, and these does not stack or is affected by the Rattan poison doctrine. The amount starts off fairly high, but because it only stacks once, it's not very threatening. Iron Cap Arquebusiers. So we got node 1 and 3 increases piercing damage by 100 points for a 200-point increase. We have node 2 and 4 increases shooting speed by 12% for a 24% increase. We have node 5 gain skill rapid fire greatly increases shooting speed for 12 seconds. Node 6 increases damage against cavalry by 400 points. Node 7 increases damage against melee units by 400 points. Node 8 during rapid fire randomly throw firecrackers to deal area damage, which will consume a large amount of ammo. Whoa, that's an interesting one. So they nerfed this by having the firecrackers eat up ammo like crazy. So that's interesting. Iron Cap Archers, Node 1 increase piercing damage by, Node 1 and 3 increases piercing damage by 100 for a 200-point increase. Node 2 and 4 increases piercing armor penetration by 100 points for a 200-point increase. Node 5, gain skill Explosive Arrow, which shoots 2 rounds of arrows with attached firecrackers, causing small area explosion. Node 6 increases damage against infantry by 400 points. Node 7 increases damage against ranged infantry by 400 points. Node 8 reduces explosive arrows cooldown time by 9 seconds. The area explosion is actually quite small. The fact that they shoot 2 rounds now, again, just makes it a little bit more threatening. I said this before that like Iron Cap Archers were a little bit more consistent than the Iron Cap Arquebusiers, which were super RNG heavy. But I didn't think that they were. I didn't think that they would buff this. Honestly, I thought the explosive arrows were way more terrifying in the logistics game, mostly because of the range and just the general impact of the explosive of what the explosive arrows mean. So that's very interesting that they decided to buff that. Continuing on, we have basic system update. Quest system optimized rules for continuous victory quests. If you exit the game during a battle and lose, your win streak record will reset. If you win, the win streak count will continue as normal. So this is to stop people from abusing the. This is people to stop evading losses. I think people were doing this with All or Nothing. Um, what during All or Nothing, you could leave the battle and it wouldn't count as a loss, which was interesting. So we have server transfer system added an item listing check in the market during server transfers and introduce appropriate notifications. Oh, basically, if you're a transferring system and you have stuff on the market, it will warn you. Replay system. Oh, the Battlefield replay system is now available to all. Warlords can view recent ranked battle replays on the Escape Career Battlefield replay. So is ranked battles interesting, not normal battles and stuff. Interface update. New rules introduce content on P character, U barracks, and unit tree interface. Click the rules button at the bottom of the screen of the respective tab to view unit training camp. Additional units are now available for training in the unit training camp. Um, I'm not sure what units they're referring to. Could be this season's units, but kind of strange. Ranked battle related. All right, so we have the ranked battle settlement time and rewards update. Starting from the Steelers season, ranked battle settlement time will be changed to 0-100 hour server time on the Monday of the last week of the season. The settlement will last until the new season, during which ranked battles will be temporarily closed. After the maintenance of the new season, warlords can log into the game and claim their settlement rewards on the ranked battle interface. That's an interesting change. Does that mean in week 10, so you have only 9 weeks to do 9 weeks? If I'm reading this correctly, they're making it during the 10th week. So the Monday of the 10th week will be the ranked battle settlement time. That means it should have been on the 26th? Or do they mean the first Monday of the week after the season ends, which is interesting. Because officially the season shouldn't end until the second, is how I imagine things going. Anyway, we'll know in a few days. But anyway, um, oh, what? After the maintenance of the new season, warlords can log into the game and claim their settlement rewards on the ranked battle interface. Whoa, that's a lot of confusion. Normally, you can claim your ranked battles during the off period, but this is saying that after the maintenance of the new season, warlords can then claim their settlement rewards on the ranked battles. That's super interesting. Okay, so okay, um, I think they probably made a mistake here, but not really sure what logistics makes this the better option. The bug fixes optimization. Fix an issue where the shield position of Sileoid slingers were abnormal when advancing with the battering ram. Resolved an issue where harangues would unexpectedly replenish ammo when equipped with the double string doctrine. Corrected the discrepancy between display and actual skill names in the training node of Shirt's Diners. Fixed an abnormal unit display issue after unlocking the final node of incendiary archers in the veteran seat. My goodness. I have complained about that ages ago, and they finally fixed this. Oh my god. That's finally. I'm just wondering which way they're going because I can see if they go with the Dermineers look, like they'll either look like the Demez Arbalist or they'll have their own unique look with their brown cap and like white uniform. But we'll see, we'll see. Fix the issue of unit models floating after being defeated. Oh, I don't think I ever ran into that one. Address the unresponsive issue where clicking the increase button in the purchase interface of the Barding and Trek shop. Fix an issue where using formation commands while climbing stairs would lead to voice loss for units. Corrected the issue where the color of teammates named would display incorrectly on the front interface. Resolved an issue where weapon-related quests would progress while trying out legendary attire in the trial level. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. I know I kind of wanted to wait until the end, but I did a little bit. All right. So, for those of you that don't keep up with my PTR videos, or for those of you that actually no, I didn't make a follow-up video for that. All right. There is some major issues I have with the brace weapon change adjustment. First of all, it only affects the units mentioned, which is really concerning because it still leaves some outliers. Those outliers basically are those that are not mentioned in this brace weapon adjustment, particularly the halberdiers, phalanx. Halberdiers and phalanx are the two most um, important ones I want to mention here. So, what this means is that they've changed the bonus, the damage bonus gained relative to the speed by 300%. And when it means 300%, it means that the previous bonus is multiplied by 300%. What that entails is something like a 20 times increase. And let me explain. The base bonus, and from what I gather, is around about 500%. They increased that by 300%, meaning that on top of the 500%, they put 3 times the amount slapped on top. So you can get a 20,000% increase in damage according to the relative speed with brace attacks. Now, the other thing, which is really important, is that there is a minimum speed before the speed bonus increase kicks in, which is actually a first. I did not actually think this existed. I don't think anyone thought that there was a minimum threshold for speed, but it does look like the minimum threshold for speed was 4 meters per second. Nearly every single unit in the game breaks that 4 meters per second. Iron Reapers, when they got their speed nerfed, I think, or they just had relatively low speed, were barely in that zone, which was very interesting. That being said, they changed it to 9 meters per second. What does that mean? Units who move at 9 meters per second are majority cav. There are some infantries that can break this 9 meters per second rule, but what this brace change does is allows these units, just these units, including Madal Battalion, but they have a separate mention here. these units will start doing 20, 30, even probably 40,000 damage to cavalry. And if they break that 9 meters per second rule. But if you're under that 9 meters per second rule, you only take normal damage. So you only take like 1,500 damage, which is concerning because one really stupid example is Monastic Knights. Monastic Knights charge is actually too slow to break this 9 meters per second rule, even at maximum lance cavalry speed, which is really hilarious because they should have like a natural of 7 and or is it natural 6.5? Anyway, Monastic Knights too slow to trigger this, so they can brute force every single one of these guys' braces, and it's really hilarious. Continuing on, Madal battalions. So they get the something similar, but it's only 200%. Minimum speed obviously gets changed. So they get 15 times damage. They're dealing like two and a bit, two and a half almost thousand damage by default. So these 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 guys easily deal 40,000 damage to cavalry now. The important thing here is that they also changed the number of race target to 4. This is one of the highest hit limits for basic attacks. This is higher than Iron Reapers, who have a base of 3. Can be 4, but it's actually kind of ridiculous. Now, that being said, um, that being said, I'm worried that Madal battalions might become too efficient this way, because one of the things that was struggling with Madal battalion was shields. They're not really good against shield. They have really low block break. It's not 0, and it's not as high as halberdiers. So you got that little wacky thing. But the doubling of the targets increases their damage by potential by 2 times and increases the block break by 2 times. So their potential is doubled for now. What I didn't know is Madal March has the number of targets for 3 separate attacks. Now, I only knew about 2 of them, and I didn't realize that they were coded like this, but the stab, slash, and push. I know that there is a stab, and I know that there is a push attack. The stab attack should have only been 2. The push attack should have been 3, but what's been put here is that it's 2 and 1. Now, there is also a slashing attack, which is 3, which I'm not sure I've ever seen or noticed. But that's all been changed to 333. I feel like if they were going to still buff Madal Defense, they should have matched the number of targets for Madal March with Madal Defense. But that's just me. That's just me. I think it would have been better if they did match it. This way, Madal March will still be relevant because Madal Defense is so overloaded right now. It is superior, and there is only a very slight damage difference. So you're not realistically using Madal March for the damage, even though you can get a little bit extra damage in. It's not a lot. Now with the 4 versus 3 argument, you would probably only end up using it as a kind of like mid-maxing damage by tack delay cancel. Besides all of that, I also do know that the push attack is unblockable. So that's one of the interesting things as well. Previously, Madal March was completely unblockable. It was changed at some point where the stab is blockable, but the push attack isn't. So keep that in mind. Anyway, they changed it all to 3, so I'm wondering how that will turn out in kind of like like how that work out, um, how that work out. So it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting that like we get a range of targets, and then now they've been consolidated to one type, to one limit. The Carnage number of attacks per attack segment, they attack 3 times, by the way, during Carnage, to from 2 to 3 is actually really big. Really big. A 50% damage increase applies also the knockdown as well. Carnage also is unblockable. Very cool that they've actually done these changes. These went on the PTR, by the way. And might be significant enough where people start using Carnage again. I definitely would love to see that. Though Madal Battalion should still be countered by something like Paladins and a lot of shield units. Um, they will deal a lot more damage now, and they could see some action for a little bit. I don't doubt it. Fortibratio Pikemen, same thing, different. Same thing as above, different. Same issue. Problem is with the Fortibratio Pikemen, they did this as a kind of like, oh, just kind of make everything the same. Problem is that if you wanted to fix Fortibratio Pikemen, you just increase their turn rate back to their previous, or match it with Phalanx. It's really stupid because the only reason why Fortibratio Pikemen are so weak is because they do turn, and because they turn so slowly that units are abusing it. Now, interestingly enough, the Nemez Pikemen did get the block formation, but they didn't get the +4, so their natural is not 40. I think they did this in order to avoid trying to fix formations for 40 plus. Again, I I did mention it. I mean, I was hoping they kept it so that we get a new limit of 44, but they got rid of it. So what? Um, Block formation is very similar to the Fortibratio Pikemans or the Sealer Guards. It's quite efficient in Destiny, so these guys these guys are really strong in the block formation now. But it's still a tier 1 unit, so they barely deal any damage. And considering that they don't get any relative speed bonuses anymore, so it's even worse now. Pike units in general are going to be much worse. They changed a couple of things for the Palace Guards. I don't think this is going to be strong enough. They needed something like a +1. They need to double the damage output from Palace Guards in general. And I think they need to consolidate for the power and guard the throne as one cooldown. Um, that's my opinion. I think the hyper defensiveness of For the Throne with the like sitting back is doesn't work for something like Palace Guards. I feel like they should be an assault unit because they're a sword and shield unit. And so if they just had guard the throne and then just beefed up the damage by a lot, it would have been better. But yeah, they get a 25% damage increase essentially. And this thing is interesting. So I can't for the life of me remember if the attack was being deflected. I could test this like really quickly on the live server, but it doesn't really matter too much. It either means that like the shield bash will now ignore block, or they won't get repelled when they attack shields, which is again causes like a small CC. It's basically the equivalent of a daze, and it's kind of like one of the few things that like is appearing again. The Orochi Samurais have this issue where if the first attack of the disarming sweep gets blocked, they get deflected. But because they don't have an animation for it, it looks like they stop, which is really funny. But I'm kind of weirded out that that they gave it a new thing. So I'm not sure what that about. Guard the Throne has an innate 5-second cooldown anyway. Um, I'm glad that they did decrease the penetration amount. Honestly, half of your penetration, there's not going to be any units in the game that's going to have enough high enough penetration to break through armor anyway, but it does avoid the situation where you just have minimum damage coming out all the time, which is one of my main gripes. The it's now 50% top debuff. Previously, it was 72%. Nothing in the game had enough penetration to remain above the threshold to actually deal um, more damage than minimum. So the funny thing here as well is that because the amount was so high, I was able to verify a couple of minimum damage, um, which is really funny because I think I think a bunch of the cavalry ended up having high minimum damage, and Lancelot's are like 50% or maybe 40%. Zweihanders didn't have a very high minimum damage, which was very surprising. Obviously, Scylla does, was obvious. But out of the units I tested, they all had normal-ish minimum damage. Now, the other important thing is the debuff seems to be applied on hit through shield. So even if the attack is blocked, it looks like it'll debuff them anyway, which is concerning because that's not how normally things should work. But at this point, if they just have debuffs ignore shields like 99% of the time, this just prevents the shield becoming overpowered in its own way. But it also circumvents a lot of power for shield units in particular. So Spear Sergeants, yeah. Um, so of course, then finally we have the Smudge Stalwarts. Just kind of the weird thing. The brace attack here gets me a little concerned because if the brace attack itself refers to the brace attack of only the brace state, which is separate from the formation brace, so but they're so similar in the first place that they could cross over. This could cause a collateral on both Spear Sergeants and Demez Spearmen when they're in formations. So that's kind of cool because it just means that they technically should be slightly better at anti-cavalry. Not that they were good in the first place, but no one uses their natural formations in the first place, and this could actually just be referring to the brace state, as in the ability of Smachian Stalwart. So um, I'm thinking that it's probably going to be just a reference to the brace state formation. So they're just going to collateral all of it, is my thinking. And what I talked about earlier for the spear length thing, Samartian stalwarts in follow mode don't enter their unique attack mode, so they end up having the same really aggressive attack range. Well, the long attack range of the spear sergeants and stuff, which is really funny. But when you activate the attack mode, they'll switch to the defensive mode and get real close to the enemy. Oh, obviously I did mention that Demez Spearmen also get affected by this. The hilarious thing is that because these guys' attack range is now equal to or slightly shorter than pike units, they kind of they kind of cancel. They're really good against pike units. Like I don't know how to explain this in a way that just like unless you see it, it's really ridiculous. But um, I don't think it's going to matter too much except during probably tier 3, where pikes against Demez spearmen is just going to be really shit because you end up something like with halberdiers just getting poked by Demez spearmen, which would usually just run straight in and kill themselves. But whoopsie daisy. Um, but actually now, because they're so far away, they take very minimal damage, and they basically break down the formation without taking extra damage from getting in close. So it minimizes the range advantage because they also have range advantage, is what I want to say. It's just really it's really funny when you see it. I'm not sure if it's going to matter a whole lot since abilities matter the most. Then finally, Um, they made no mention on fixing the penetrating bolts unit trait for the Mez Arbalist or Pavis Crossbowman. That is still an issue, and I really want them to fix that. I have, I'm floored that they kind of done all of these other things, but they refuse to fix the one thing that I've been asking for. And in retrospect, I realize that they don't fix it is because the Impale Doctrine exists now. And because the Impale Doctrine exists, they don't have the ability to mediate the strength of the Impale Doctrine, which is unfortunate. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed. Other than that, my name's Atsukai. Have a nice day. Bye for now. And tell me, what do you think about all of these changes? We also have the semi-finals for Eastern champions and the Western champions coming up this weekend. Whether or not we will get to see any changes is another question. I will only be able to watch the I'll only be commentating for the semi-finals that is happening tonight. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Will be uploaded later. But yeah, tell me, what unit mastery are you most excited for? Honestly, I am really excited to actually use the Ironclad archers in battle because they just seem very hilarious. Um, of course, the Nemez Arbalists just have a range issue in general, but their DPS will be ridiculous at this point. Um, that's also for other reasons, but I think I'll just mention it really quickly. The how these damage increases work is it's a flat damage increase. It doesn't get affected. It doesn't seem to be get affected by armor. So it circumvents armor, and it seems to apply through. It doesn't get affected by damage reductions effects. So if it ignores armor and damage reduction, which is really bad, by the way. But the most important thing here is that because it's applied as a flat amount and doesn't get attenuated by any of the damage decreases, that means that the effect also goes through the 30% damage decrease for each target pierced for the piercing bolts, for the purposes of the piercing bolts thing. Now, I made the mistake earlier on that thinking that they fixed the penetrating bolts trait. They didn't. They didn't because obviously that would be too much. What ends up happening is that even if they hit minimum, which is 5% of their damage, so in this case it will be like 100 damage, they'll still deal 100 plus 400 damage. So they'll still deal 500 damage to at least all of their targets. Beyond the third target, um, no, in this case, like they'll this two additional bolts they'll hit 4 by default. With Pale they can hit 5. Um, so beyond yeah, the fourth target on the fourth and fifth target will be 10% and 5%. So they'll still deal like 400 damage. I think the third one already gets really low. but it's still set at like 40%. But it's only like 600 or 800. I don't know. Um, that's besides the point. Each shot potential is really, really high, and they have a really high attack speed. Doesn't get affected by the Chevaliers. Only these default things do, and obviously the damage increases. So, um, actually, yeah, no, I would be afraid. I would be afraid of Chevaliers with Mez Arbalest coming back. Um, this is actually not this will be terrifying. Actually, they'll still have ammo problems with the Chevaliers, but for how strong they'll get, um, maybe we'll see. We'll see. I definitely do think that they need to just get rid of the special interaction with the double shot doctrine. I think that was a mistake, and the fact that they flip-flopped on the effect was really stupid. Oh God. I know I love to talk, but I swear that is everything. And I hope you guys enjoy the video and keep enjoying Conqueror's Blade. We should get some news about the new season shortly. But on that, my name is Jessica. Have a nice day. Bye for now.